You're listening to the Jiu-Jitsu Lou podcast, and I'm Lou Temlett. I'm guessing you're having a good day because either you've been on the mats, are considering getting on the mats, or maybe taking your partner to train. I'm so happy you're here listening or watching this episode. Please don't tap out before the end. When you want to feel equal and bond with your family, start training Jiu-Jitsu. Today I have Maccy, a 4-stripe white belt, joining me on my podcast. Hi Maccy, how you doing?
Hey, lovely to be here. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much for showing up.
Anytime.
Maccy and I know each other from training in Bristol. And as I've just mentioned, we're both 4-stripe white belts. So we have a number of things in common. And I just want to also acknowledge your amazing specs, Maccy.
Thank you.
I noticed one side is rectangular and one side is circular. I don't have such cool specs, or I aspire to have such cool specs.
We can make it happen. We can make it happen.
But let's talk about wearing specs and training jiu-jitsu.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what an interesting. Very interesting. I spend my life, I find, if I'm not getting choked out, I spend my life trying to see what's going on around me because I simply just can't see. And some people have been called different names than who they are because I just can't recognize them sometimes. But it's not intentional. For anyone's watching, if you think I'm very forgetful, I am, but I just can't see you. Yeah, I don't know how you feel about wearing specs and being able to train and then having to go between and...
It's a bit of a challenge, I must admit. I'm not the youngest person on the mats, and I have a fellow glasses wearer that I train with. I trained with last night, and we both wear specs. Hi, Ollie, name check. Thank you for listening. But Ollie actually had to hand me my specs last night so that we could see Professor demonstrating the moves and then put them back on the shelf so that we could go and train. So I do find it a challenge. I'm short-sighted and there's a lot of squinting, but actually jiu-jitsu, it's all close quarters. So we're kind of all right. If you can see their lapel or their their cuff or their gi pants, you're okay. You're okay.
Yeah, exactly. If you can get those grips and you know where to get them, you're fine. That's it. That's where we got to be. Yeah, I just find it really... You'll see in lots of pictures, not that I get packed everywhere. That's not what I mean. Well, you'll see when I get pictures when there's wonderful professors, people who come and visit us, who take their time to come on the mats and we get pictures done. You'll always see me in the back, and you'll always see me like this. Now I've not fallen asleep. There's nothing's flown in my eyes. I just cannot see. So this could be a reason as to why sometimes I'm doing moves and professors like, what is that? Probably because I can't see.
I like that. So, I like the fact that being short-sighted gives us the excuse. I'm not sure we get away with it for very long, to be honest, though.
The excuse of being rubbish. Yes, I can see you. I'm so sorry. Completely the wrong move. My bad.
Oh, I love it. Anyway, we're here to talk about more than specs today. So today's kind of topic, we're going to talk a bit about neurodiversity and mental health and the benefits of training jiu-jitsu. Now, I know, Maccy, you've shared some of your story with regards to your mental health challenges and, neurodiversity. Talk a bit more about how jiu-jitsu's helped you, or, kind of go back and if you're happy to share some of the story,
of course.
That would be fab.
So, mental health is a really important thing to talk about. I'll probably preface it that. And there's no shame in talking about, and this is why I'm really open about it, because some people are brave enough to speak about it, but some people aren't, and that's okay. But know that there are people out there that suffer from it, that you don't know what people are going through, and it's important to be kind, and that's probably the first thing I'll say about it. So I'll go back a little bit. So I went through a period of being quite unwell, to the point where I was in hospital, mental rehabilitation hospital. And for anyone who listens to this and has been there, they are some of your deepest, darkest days where it's like peeling an onion. You're peeling it back to get right to your core, and you're rebuilding again with healthy thought patterns, how to cope. And, I spent 3 months in hospital, the hardest 3 months probably. And that duration where I really, went through it. And it's not reinventing yourself. You're not becoming a new person, but what you are is wondering how you fit in the world now with what you've learned about yourself and your new coping. And just because you could do something before doesn't mean you can do it now, but just because you couldn't do something before means you might be able to be more comfortable to do it now. And that's, I'll give you an example, being in social situations, being able to, a very simple thing that I sometimes think we take for granted. Some people simply can't do it. And I remember being in a period where I just couldn't face being in that situation. So I went through rehabilitation, and I'm grateful to anyone who's listening to this who's been through that journey. Very grateful for all the lessons they taught me and for the things that they've helped me do. So I went through that. I went through a period of just coming out, and I used to work. That was all that was in my vocabulary. I'd wake up, I'd commute 3 hours, I'd go to work, I'd commute back, I'd sleep, and the only thing I could do was eat, sleep, and this whole rinse, repeat, the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that was my sole focus, was to live, to work, and had no social. So I came out of, obviously, hospital, and there was a period of time where I did nothing, right? Because you're like, I've come out now, I've spent time in a structured environment, I've spent time going to therapy, really working on myself. And when I come out, I don't have the crux of work, the one thing that was my identity, right? And I say that, because it was my identity.
Yeah.
So you learn, what is my part in this world? What is my value? Apart from work, who am I? And I guess that's where it really started for me. And, at that time, after I'd come out of hospital, I'd met my wonderful partner. And, I know, that, she won't mind me saying, the fact that she's gone through these struggles. And we were going through a similar journey at the time. And then I think I found a purpose. I was like, hold on, the healthier version of me is becoming involved with people that are healthier for me. And it's a constant learning journey. And that's how, I will talk later about how that's what jiu-jitsu is, a constant journey of learning. But that was what my life was. And, it's hard because you're learning who you are, knowing what your brain is, knowing the situations you've overreacted to, you understand why you react to them.
Yeah.
And I guess knowing that, okay, whilst I may think about this differently, that doesn't make me a bad person. That doesn't make me any different to anyone else. I'm just me. And I guess that's the biggest learning. So, I came out of this, and, we'll talk about jiu-jitsu and stuff. But when you come out of that learning progression, the whole learning about yourself, I always truly believe that it's the same thing with jiu-jitsu. You are constantly learning about your ability, about what's good for you, not for everyone else. Don't compare yourself to anyone else, for you. And I think that's the same with jiu-jitsu, right? It's about you and what you can do. Just because someone can do a flying triangle really great doesn't mean my short legs can do the same, right? Same thing, right?
I love that. I just want to kind of celebrate the fact that you had awareness to find out who you were. I know some of us, have absolutely invested in the work world, come out of education or circumstance, and you just want to work, and that's your sole focus. But to actually have an awareness and to then address who you are, because we get sucked into routines and, life without really having a thought for oneself, because actually, the importance of life is about serving other people or helping other people, whatever it happens to be, that is not your own being. And I think that's, on the flip side, the jiu-jitsu is very much about your own being. And that's kind of, for me, the shift. Yeah,
I hear that. It's about you, right? And it's about that balance of team, family, you.
Completely.
And definitely refocuses you. Refocus into what's important, for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that story. If anyone else has been through difficult times or, through a mental health breakdown, I'll add some links in the show notes. Please do reach out, and we will continue to talk about how jiu-jitsu, can be part of your journey as well. I also want to kind of raise the point about neurodiversity, Maccy, because you identify as neurodiverse. Tell us a bit more about that.
So the journey to my neurodiversity was interesting because, you either get a period where your behavior isn't masked. So I went through, so obviously we related to my mental health, and that kind of masks everything else that's going on, right? So when that was treated, I sort of came out of there. And when we talk about rediscovering yourself, you start to go, oh, actually, hold on, I didn't know that I thought about things that way, or I didn't know that I did things that way, or things that I do are very particular. So as I've gone through the journey, I've realized, okay, I'm very logical. I'm very chess player type, which is jiu-jitsu, really. I'm very, straight to the point. It's either A or B, never
Yeah.
grey, right? And you kind of learn that. You kind of learn about things like time blindness as well. Like, if I have an appointment at 3, you can bet you I'm not moving till 3 o'clock, right? And you start to learn and go, oh, I've got to cope with that. But
Yeah.
neurodiversity was really helped by jiu-jitsu, 100%. There is no doubt about it. When I went into jiu-jitsu, I didn't know how much it would benefit me, that it would. And when I talked to my doctors, when I talked to my therapists, when I started jiu-jitsu, the one thing that they said was, there is something different, and I don't know what.
Ooh.
But what have you done differently, or what is it that you're doing now that you hadn't done the last time we spoke?
Wow.
What was different was me walking onto a mat and speaking to the professor and going, I want to give this a go, and getting my head down into it.
Yeah.
And that was different. And I guess you never know how it profoundly changes you or helps you until someone else recognizes it. And sometimes you're like, what? I didn't know it did that. But
Yeah.
it does. It does.
That's amazing to hear and kind of feel the shift that maybe you didn't notice yourself. Was there any awareness from your own perspective until it was shared with you?
I think when I started noticing that the behaviors and, not just being on the mat, but the things that I learned culturally about jiu-jitsu, the sport of jiu-jitsu, the values, all of that, the discipline being number one, being a neurodivergent, my discipline can be a little bit like, not, here, there, everywhere.
Yeah.
But, it's a simple things, and it helps your mental health as well. Get up, show up, right?
Yeah.
Not be there for everyone, but, show up for your team, show up for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's 1% further each day. If you can move forward 1%, and that goes personal life jiu-jitsu, and you're improving, that's the journey you're on, and that's brilliant. As long as you can get on there, it's 1%. And don't force yourself to be 50% better, 100% better, take it at your pace. And I think jiu-jitsu has learned and taught me to slow down and think about my journey and think about things like that. But it's also taught me the discipline to go, some days I don't want to get out of bed. And I'm sure everyone who's listening to this will relate and go, I don't want to get out of bed. There are days where I feel so low, but then I think about actually what the professor said. Show up for yourself, show up for your team, and just do 1%, more than you did yesterday. Just get 1% better, and that's all anyone can ever ask of you.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I guess that was the indication that I started slowly being like, oh, I'm being a bit more disciplined. I'm being a bit more, structured in my life.
I love that. Just that kind of constant improvement. My background's kind of in, business and management and tech and all sorts of things, but it's about receiving that feedback. Maybe it's just some tips from the professor. Why don't you try working on this? Or you realizing that you're not, achieving the chokes, or, there's something that's not quite right. And then you having the awareness, or, being made aware, and then you changing, getting better. And it's that, it's the social side of it that allows you to progress. And where else in our lives do we do that? Some of us obsessives, when I used to deliver newspapers as a very young teenager, I did used to time myself, and every day I was a little bit quicker. And I felt like I was earning my money more efficiently by delivering papers quicker. But it's kind of having those things. What measures do we have in other aspects of our lives that offer us that opportunity to constantly improve? And that's, jiu-jitsu is absolutely the thing.
Yeah, 100%. Is that constant improvement and that constant journey. I think it's not, you don't just learn one thing and that's it. If you learn thing, but you tweak it. You tweak it to what your body can do. You tweak it to different things, and it's constant. It's never, okay, brilliant, sign that off, you're done. It's do it this way, do it a little bit. And everyone in our community can teach you something different about the same thing. And that's what I love. Right.
Absolutely.
That is what I love. It's like knowledge, constant. Oh, effective for him, but that's not effective for me. But the other thing that you did is effective for me. And it's just that constant learning, and that, and I think, when you talk about feedback, I'm going to touch on feedback a little bit. I used to be terrible at taking feedback before. I used to think it was a criticism of my life. I used to be like, oh my God, I'm terrible. You can't give me the feedback. But when the professors sit and give you that feedback, they teach you, it's to help you to improve and to be, to get better. And, that's the one thing that's really stuck in my head. Jiu-jitsu's really been like, actually, it's turned my view on how I view feedback in my life now. It's really been like, they'll sit and they'll tell me, do it this way because you're not quite getting it. In my old sort of view, I'd be like, no, you're telling me I'm rubbish. But no, it's that level of improvement. We're here to help you and support you. That's
it. Absolutely. And I think, when we receive feedback, for me, my mind's gone back to my work life. It always felt very personal.
Oh gosh.
And it wasn't about the project, but actually it was about the project, and it wasn't about you at all. But actually, it's real growth hearing you say that, because the feedback is actually about you. It's just your being is the outer expression of your moves and positions. And it sounds like you come such a long way in taking that feedback, because it's still you as a whole person, but it's for the improvement. So it feels like a massive shift. So it's personal, but it's still external to your being, if you know what I mean. Sounds a bit complicated, but I've shifted my mindset now with you sharing that feedback is, to be taken in, but not to be, to be accepted as well.
To be accepted, and to be accepted as it's not personal. I used to take everything. I'm hypersensitive. I used to be really hypersensitive to stuff like that. It's not personal. It's about improvement. And it's that constant, there's no, and we talk about neurodiversity and social cues, right? And we talk about things like that. And feedback, I would read between the lines and be like, oh gosh, they don't like me, or this, or that,
you can make up your own stories in your head, and you're going off on one, aren't you?
But here it's you wear a uniform, you step on the mat, you're equal. There's nothing to it. You're equal. You're there, you're a team, you're equal. And that's what's beautiful about this art and this sport of jiu-jitsu.
Absolutely. This is the Jiu-Jitsu Lou podcast, and I'm Lou Temlett, coming to you from the UK. When you're ready to pick up some Jiu-Jitsu Lou merch, head over to jiu-jitsulou.com/shop. Today, I'm having a chat with Maccy about our Jiu-Jitsu family and previously neurodiversity. So we'll come on to talk about our Jiu-Jitsu family and how important it is for us that maybe have some support network or maybe no support network in our environments.
For sure. I think, when we talk about family, I think about our personal family. And I think how incredibly lucky I am to step foot on the mats with such wonderful people. And people from all walks of life who have such different experiences, who are there, on the same journey as you, but also, to improve themselves, to better themselves, whatever reason they step on those mats. I'm here to, I'm so supportive of that. But also when we talk about family, when it's a little things of just sitting after training. How are you? Haven't seen you in training in a couple of weeks. The little things in life that make you realize they care. I think about our family, and I think about how our schools are, and I'm so grateful to have, in a school, and for anyone who doesn't do jiu-jitsu, or for anyone that does, you'll know there's not a hierarchy, but there's a level, right? That you've got your professors, you've got your coaches, you've got your students. And to have like one figurehead, or two figureheads that are staple, it sometimes brings a stability to you that you might not get anywhere else. You go to school, they'll be there, and they'll teach you jiu-jitsu. That's stability. simple stability, but still stability, right?
Yeah.
Your coaches, you know what coach is going to be coaching on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
You know that when you step through the doors, it'll be at the same time. You know what the routine is. You know, you get on the mats. You know, you greet each other. You bow. You know, to us, it's Carlos. You know, Gracie. You know, senior and junior, real pioneers of jiu-jitsu, and you bow to each other. And you know that in that time, that every single person on that mat will look after you because it's your family, it's your community. I can tell you, Lou, and I know you'll attest to this. Some of them were like my big brothers, you know, my sisters, you know, my uncles. And, you know, my big brothers sometimes, yeah, they annoy me, you know, but it's family and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know about you. What is your, you know, community like, you know, and family?
Well, for me, it's, you know, it's me and my 2 young children. We don't necessarily have a support network outside of jiu-jitsu. And for us starting, you know, it really has been an extended family. You know, my daughter shares a birthday with Will. So they're birthday twins. So there's kind of connection there. And him and his girlfriend have just moved into a new house, and we've kind of, you know, my daughter kind of did a lovely card. So it just feels like there's kind of extension, you know, when people hurt themselves or they're injured, you know, you kind of reach out, and they reach out to you if there's anything wrong, or, you know, you don't show up one week, they go, oh, you know, is everything okay? So it's really that two-way communication and support that keeps us all kind of flowing and, you know, kind of in the mix. When I spoke to Emily on my last episode, she referenced jiu-jitsu dads. You know, she's got 2 kind of father figures in jiu-jitsu. So it's, you know, identifying with, you know, kind of family members, but within your, you know, within your jiu-jitsu school. I think I've just got lots of cousins, to be honest.
I think I have lots of big brothers because they make sure I look after me, you know, and you know, it's really great too. They reach out, and I remember when I was in hospital, I was really quite ill with colitis, and I just kept constantly getting messages and constant, please pop in when you can. It'll be so lovely to see you, with no emphasis on get a gi on, get on the mat. We just like to see you, to know that you're okay. And that for me was brilliant because it spurred me to go, actually, I really want to be on the mats again with my team, or with my tribe, with my family. And I remember walking in, and I'll remember this for a very long time. I remember walking in, and there was a bunch of flowers and a card and some Ferrero Rocher on the front desk. And I opened the card thinking, you know, we don't all see each other at training. Sometimes we're ships in the night, right?
Yeah.
But most of the school had signed that card for me.
Wow.
And I think that was when I realized, as well as everything else, I was like, do you know what? They care. You know, they all went round, they all signed the card. You know, I was getting texts from people, get well soon, you know, don't worry about anything. You'll come back when you come back. The mats will always be there, but know that we're always here for you.
Yeah.
And that, when you know, and when I moved here, I only have my partner here. When I walked through those doors, I never knew how much of a family that they would become to me. And then when I go to other schools as well, because obviously I travel, you know, when I have to travel for work and stuff, they kind of become your extended family, don't they? And I can't stress the family aspect enough. You know, I have a jiu-jitsu dad who always goes, oh, you know, you need to eat, you know, you're not eating properly. I get that every time I walk in, you know. Or have you got the right kit? You all right? Constantly checking in. I have a jiu-jitsu mum. I have a jiu-jitsu older sister. We have one where we just can't stop terrorizing each other on the mat, and then we get told off by our jiu-jitsu dad. So, you know, it's very that dynamic.
I love that. I do have a very good jiu-jitsu sister. Lots of jiu-jitsu sisters, actually.
And
I don't have a sister. So I think that's really quite special in terms of kind of, you know, growing our community and friendship. One of the reasons why I put this podcast together was to encourage more women to consider stepping on the mats and joining us training jiu-jitsu. You know, we really can't underestimate the value that other women on the mat bring us. You know, we might not shout about it, we might not shout it from the rooftops and celebrate always. But actually in our hearts, I think we all feel quite deeply a kind of support for other women. And I know kind of energetically can be quite a difficult thing, but actually there's some quiet appreciation for other women.
I am with you there, Lou. And listen, lads, for everyone watching this, I love you, but I'm just going to talk about the women here. Don't get offended, please. When we started where we started, there were only a few women on the mat. You'd see every so often. And I remember being welcome when I walked in, and this wonderful blue belt, who, by the way, has the longest legs in the world, so she will triangle me every single time. But she welcomed me, and I only ever saw her and another female. And then we fast forward on, right? We've got a really active WhatsApp group of girls who we keep up with each other's travels. We keep up with everything that's going on. Even if we haven't been training in a while, we always check in with each other to let each other know we're still on the radar, we're still alive, we're still, bopping about somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
And we've done socials and stuff, which has been brilliant because it's just been girls. And there is the womanhood we have, right? I haven't been able to replicate that anywhere else. Do you know what I mean? Because we all share a unique journey, right? You got to think we are in an arena next to men. It's a male dominated sport, but really brilliant that more women are coming through. But we're all going through that journey together, going through about what that looks like for us personally and supporting each other through what may be difficult. And listen, ladies who are thinking about it, and I'm going to sound like a sales advert, right? Ladies who are thinking about it, you don't have to be fit because, if you've seen me on the mat, I'm not asleep, I'm just gassed out, yeah? You don't have to be fit, you don't have to be an Olympic athlete, you don't have to be anything to start jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And if community matters to you, and you think jiu-jitsu is a place to find that, come and join us. And,
Absolutely.
I've been in places where I've been injured, and sat on the sidelines. I've been more part of the community than I have been on the mat. But no one judges you for that because you're part of the community, right? And I think, I know I'll probably address this as well, that some women aren't comfortable training with the opposite sex. Doesn't matter. We'll help you. We'll support you. We will be at sessions, and wherever you find yourself in a jiu-jitsu school, the women will support you and be at sessions and be your training partner. No problem. And don't think you're a burden for that. We all have our preferences. We all have reasons why we can't. But the way women rally together, let me tell you, it's something else, isn't it?
And actually, what comes to mind is, as women, it's about learning to be braver to ask for what we want. Because we go, well, maybe I won't say anything. But actually, part of training jiu-jitsu is that we can feel more comfortable and saying, actually, I'd like to train with another woman, or I'd like to, try these moves. And it's about empowering ourselves and just putting it out there and feeling really comfortable. And you spoke about kind of with your neurodiversity and mental health about masking. And I think one of the places that we can feel free and unmasked is the jiu-jitsu training mats. I wear makeup every day. And one of the places that I don't, only usually on a Sunday morning, to be fair, because it's really early, I don't wear makeup. But I would never walk out of the apartment without wearing makeup. So for me, it's about feeling more comfortable in myself as well. And that's a journey. Everyone can decide to do what they want, but it really is a place to be you and embody who you are if you've discovered or are on the journey to discovering who you are as well.
Yeah. And I love the empowerment thing you brought out. I won't name them, but I think you'll know who they are. I'm so incredibly proud, not like, I'm proud of all of the ladies, but I'm so incredibly proud of the growth journey of one of the students that we train with, in her ability to now put boundaries in place and know that she is worthy of being able to ask for what she wants, and not be in the shadows and feel like, she's a burden. And, it is about, that's another thing, putting boundaries in place, being like, no, I'm not happy with the way you did that, or you're hurting me, because it's a contact sport and people don't hurt you on purpose. They might hurt, but it's about even being able to voice that and go, look, some people couldn't do that. And I've watched them, when I've been on the mat, and now they're like, no, sorry, I'm not comfortable training, not because of, but it's my preference not to. They've been able to voice that, and to know they haven't been able to do that before.
Yeah.
I'm so incredibly proud, and it inspires me every day.
Absolutely. It really is a place to kind of grow and learn and make those small shifts. It's going back to that 1%, maybe 1 week you're not comfortable, but when you want someone to roll a bit lighter, try asking. It might only be one person, or you might just go, express something. But then when you need something from your training partner, you can feel comfortable saying it, and that comes with time, and that's that 1% shift, improvement, growth, empowerment throughout that whole journey.
Exactly.
Which, and that's what we're here for.
And I will say this about masking as well. Openly, I'd like to thank all the people that we train with, all the people that are training with us at schools, because you have enabled me to realize that I don't need to mask with you, that I can be myself with you. And that has 100% boosted my confidence in myself. So I'm just going to say out here, thank you. And you guys all know who you are. Thank you for helping me live my authentic self. And thank you for being supportive of that and cheerleading for that. And I will continuously cheerlead for all of you, and I just want to say that while I'm here, people have been incredible.
Maccy, I have nothing more to say. You've beautifully summed up this podcast episode and your share. And I kind of feel like we should, embrace those words of empowerment and thanks and gratitude. So thank you so much for being part of this show.
Thank you, Lou. And thank you, everyone. And, keep listening. I hope that somewhere, be brave, walk into that school, open that door, because the journeys you will find behind that door, you will not know how it will change your life. And it might not. And, I'm the first to say jiu-jitsu might not be for everyone. Give it a go. And it will change your life. And I hope it does in the way that it's changed mine.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for listening. I know you will have taken away some really key points from Maccy's share. Do follow the show on whichever platform you're listening on. And after that episode, it would be really great if you could drop a review. Thank you so much to Maccy, and catch you next time.